Hi, everyone. My name is Phil Burch. I'm a product marketing manager here at Amplitude. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today we're going to talk about how Amplitude can help organizations like yours drive growth and better experiences with Experiment for Web so that you can personalize better web experiences, optimize them, and then ultimately convert more users more successfully. And so today we're going to talk about how Amplitude helps organizations do that today, as well as give you a sneak peek into some functionality coming very, very soon. So let's get into it. Ultimately, category leaders know that driving growth with A/B testing really happens when you do it at scale across experiences across the full customer journey. So our customer Al Jazeera actually did this to improve engagement with their video and article opens, even including it or improving it rather by 43% and 31% respectively, all by ensuring that the right content is being shown to the user at the right time to really engage them where they are within that particular experience. Another customer of ours, Ivanios, actually improved their conversion rate and click-through rate, their click-through rate 2x and their conversion rate 20%, all through delivering more personalized messaging across the different regions and geographies that they currently have customers in. So by personalizing that web experience, they were able to really drive considerable growth and improve their click-through rate. And then finally, Super.com, based out of Canada, they actually improved their retention rate more than 90% through optimized messaging and really self-serve A/B testing, right? So when organizations like these really deliver A/B testing at scale across the full customer journey, teams can really benefit and really see outstanding growth as a result of that, particularly for their web experiences. But you might be wondering, why doesn't everyone do this today, right? Ultimately, we know personalization is really, really important and critical to growth. But unfortunately, growth and marketing teams are stuck, and they're stuck for a couple different reasons that we see as we talk to customers, regardless of their size or maturity level. Ultimately, they're all seeing the same thing, that customers are demanding more. In fact, 69% of customers want companies and organizations to improve the customer experience. The problem is teams internally don't have the right insights into the full customer journey. They likely have a smaller part of it or parts of it, but they can't actually bring everything together to truly understand what's happening and how to improve, right? And a lot of this comes back to the legacy technology that they're using that sometimes can create bad experiences like screen flicker or other things or other low performance tests. And the problem with that is that this really limits conversion rate optimization ROI, because as experiences are degraded, your conversion rates go down as well. So these three challenges end up being really, really critical and really tough to overcome, even though we all are driving towards the same thing, which is a more personalized experience across the full customer journey. Because ultimately, what we're trying to do, or what organizations need to do, is really democratize experimentation so that they can, because it really drives innovation and growth. The problem is that it requires a whole lot of things to be unified and together in order for this to make sense, right? The thing number one is reliable and trustworthy data, all the way down to the individual user level in many cases. So things like stitching together user identity without having to, burn out engineering teams, and unifying those metrics across, multiple solutions is really difficult to do, because if you're running tests, you really want to be able to trust that one user saw the same experience throughout the experiment. And additionally, that the metrics definitions across things like your analytics tool and your experimentation tool are the same. Because if you can't trust that the right user saw it and that the behavior that was recorded and tracked is accurate, it really puts you in a tough spot if you can actually trust the results that you're seeing. The second thing it requires are the right insights across the full journey, right? So if we can actually provide the right level of detail into customer cohorts and segmentation, then all of a sudden we can actually accept and leverage those insights across the journey to really understand what's happening. Because if you don't understand the performance today or yesterday, for that matter, you can't really improve the experience tomorrow unless you really understand the full customer journey from the moment that you acquire that customer all the way through retaining them. And the third thing you need is the ability to act, right? It's not enough to just simply trust your data and see and trust your insight that you're seeing. Like, what are you going to do to actually activate that insight into something that is meaningful to the business, right? So not only do you need to take those insights and activate them, but you need to actually understand how to iterate and improve faster. And that's really where that action layer comes together, like running another experiment or similar. It really becomes really critical to make sure that you can actually bring these things all together in order to deliver a great experience, right? And this is how these organizations like Avanios, like Al Jazeera, are able to actually exceed customer expectations and continue to iterate and improve and optimize that customer journey all the way through. Because ultimately, if you can unify access to insights and web A/B testing together, this is really how you can drive growth and conversion across teams, right? Whether they are in growth or marketing, all the way into product, even if they're not focused on the web experience, you can actually take these same techniques and apply them to your product experiences as well, right? So if you can have access to the right insights, you can understand what messaging on your website is resonating, right? And it's, you know that because it's built on reliable customer insights where you can actually see what behaviors are taking place on your website and then figure out how to actually improve that. The second thing you can do is determine if your CTAs are driving the right action, right? And this is something you can do by analyzing customer behavior and making sure that you are promoting and engaging people the right way to ensure that you're building the right journey for them to take the actions that you envisioned, right? And the final thing for all growth and marketing teams is making sure your landing pages are converting, right? Are you telling the right story? Are you speaking to customer need in a way that, ultimately provokes the action that you want and, drives those registrations or signups or adding to cart, what have you? These are all really critical when you bring these together to like improve those web experiences. But it really does come back to unifying access to these insights as well as the way, A/B testing capabilities teams need to understand what's happening and ultimately improve those experiences. And what Amplitude's able to do is actually unite teams to scale using one unified platform. So for the product managers out there, right, they're able to, as I said before, actually optimize product experiences. So think things like onboarding flows and sign-up flows in such a way that they can actually innovate their products faster with more confidence. On the engineering side, continuing with more the delivery of a product experience theme, they're able to actually connect customer data and impact of the features that they are releasing in one place to understand every time they ship new code, are they actually promoting behavior and driving business objectives that teams ultimately are organizations are driving towards, right? From the data science side and analytics side, they're able to remove themselves as the choke point, which is what we see in a lot of cases where they can't actually trust business teams to run experiments because they're terrified of what the wrong decision is, or if they misinterpret results, that they won't actually be able to, they could ultimately drive some pretty negative outcomes for the business. But if you can effectively provide them with the tooling and the stats together with the ability for them to dive deeper into the results, all of a sudden they can step out of that workflow, unblock teams to do this, and then really actually start to democratize experimentation to teams like growth and marketing, right? Because now all of a sudden, you all with your web experiences on Amplitude be able to actually personalize these web experiences and really drive the growth, monetization, engagement, and retention that you are looking for. And executive teams now can connect all of these personalization efforts across both your web experiences and product experiences and actually tie that back into the business growth and objectives that everyone is driving towards. And so these are the different ways that Amplitude unites teams to actually scale experimentation and democratize it using one platform as opposed to a myriad of point solutions that really make it difficult, right? To string together integrations and ultimately, degrade the ROI that your experimentation program could deliver if everything was in one place. Because here's how Amplitude helps these optimization programs thrive, right? We make it easy to democratize testing for everyone, right? So regardless of what your use case is, whether it's more feature experimentation focused or web optimization focused, you're able to all work together using the same underlying data set and the same customer insights to make sure that we can actually provide a unified experience both from the moment they find your website all the way through actually, buying, coming back and creating that habit loop. Because the insights are connected from each of those phases, it actually becomes very simple or far more straightforward when it's all in one place across the entire experience. You can really get the insights into the full journey and figure out and surface what areas there are to optimize overall. And that really helps teams iterate and improve and optimize far more quickly. And ultimately, it's quick, right? So as I mentioned, like now you can connect insights that you surface in Amplitude to a better experience across your website, as well as your core product experience as well. Because you can now understand and optimize that full journey in one place. So everything from the buying experience, as I mentioned, by connecting things like web experimentation and marketing analytics that you get out of the box with Amplitude, all the way through your core product experience with deep product analytics and feature experimentation to really drive engagement, acquisition, and retention and conversion really across that journey in one place without needing to, again, stand up, integrate, and maintain pipelines and integrations, which can really be painful and really slow teams down in terms of scaling that innovation and growth that everyone is really trying to drive towards. And here's how we do that, right? We put together things like unified experimentation, analytics, session replay, which is one of our more newer offerings, and really bring that all together with the governance and control and compliance, frankly, that teams need to do this successfully, and do it well, right? And so this is really what Amplitude brings together in one unified way so that teams can benefit from more innovation and more growth using one platform. So let's talk a little bit more about what web experimentation looks like with Amplitude, right? So really it comes down to connecting three key elements of the workflow to make sure that you're able to deliver the right experiences to the right users, right? Number one, surfacing insights to find new experiences to optimize with built-in web analytics. So what Amplitude can do based off of a very recent release at the end of May, you can now ultimately go to your marketing space, figure out all of your core marketing metrics and performance metrics and KPIs, and figure out, are there areas whereby you could be improving, right? Or perhaps performance is a little bit lower than you'd like. You can jump into Amplitude, take that insight, get the guidance you need to design an experiment, and then ultimately ensures that growth and marketing teams build that test and design it effectively based on best practices, right? So you're taking the insight, you're getting guidance to build the right experiment, and then as the test rolls out, whether that is better headline messaging or a new landing page version, you can ultimately use real-time insights to measure that impact across the web experience to see what's working and what's not, right? And so when we think about features and capabilities to make this possible, and we'll talk about a few in just a moment here, but really it comes back to putting all of these capabilities together, including things like robust stats packages that data science teams are comfortable with and can dig into themselves and have access to the right insights from their end to unblock teams from running these tests, all the way down to native cohorting capabilities to analyze different customer segments out of the box. Putting all these together is really powerful because now all of a sudden everyone's looking at one data set using one platform and really optimizing every experience from the web all the way through their core product. So when we think about this from a web experimentation standpoint, one of the key things that we shipped in the last couple of weeks here is split URL testing. So the way that you can evaluate messaging on your website or evaluate landing page performance is actually just splitting traffic to your website through one or two versions of a specific URL. So very easy to spin up a new landing page in your CMS and ultimately just compare traffic across two things and then be able to benefit from the same analysis that you already have in Amplitude and make it very easy and fast for a growth team to, like I said, evaluate two new versions of a landing page or different layouts of a page. So like, should the CTA be in the hero or should it be a panel or two below, right? It's very easy for teams to suddenly spin up new variants and then ultimately figure out what's working and what's not, all by using a simple URL redirect directly from Amplitude. The other thing we also shipped in the second quarter this year are multi-arm bandits. And so this is a advanced technique that teams can use to improve conversion rate optimization strategies by ultimately providing an advanced algorithm to do this. So the difference between a traditional A/B test and a multi-arm bandit, it's kind of interesting. A/B tests say, show me randomized samples, show them two versions or three versions in a multivariate test, and ultimately run the test the entire time, keep it very much the same and learn which one performed better, and then analyze why that happened. Multi-arm bandits turn that on its head a little bit and say, look, if I've got 2 weeks to run a holiday promotion, right? Perhaps it's a new vacation offer or some other, holiday shopping, this type of thing that is common in the United States. If you were to run a traditional A/B test leading up to something like holiday shopping, you could miss out on conversions because as the test runs, it doesn't really matter like what performed better, like you're missing out on those conversions as to anything that went to the inferior variant or for inferior offer, right? So what a multi-arm bandit does is say, look, as the test runs, as a variant winner emerges, starts shifting more and more traffic to the winning variant so that I can maximize my conversions. And that's really what a multi-arm bandit does. So if you have a time-based or a time-bound campaign like holiday shopping or similar, now all of a sudden growth teams can configure a multi-arm bandit the same way they would with a traditional A/B test and basically just see how the test plays out over time. And then you can actually maximize those conversions by just allowing AI and machine learning to simply direct the traffic to the winning variant as the test runs. And then you can still dive into all the analysis that you need that you already get from Amplitude and figure out who saw it, which one won, and then ultimately, what happened during the test, which is what this graphic shows on the right. The third capability we'll talk about today is coming very, very soon. This is a little bit of a sneak peek, but you'll hear about this in the next couple of weeks here. We're going to start actually integrating more directly with CMS partners, starting with Contentful, which is a leading headless CMS out there. And what this allows teams to do is actually unlock no-code experimentation so that growth and marketing teams can actually work within the tools they already are familiar with, like Contentful, and they can ultimately set it up in Amplitude Experiment the same way, get the same guidance they need to make sure that the test is set up correctly, go into Contentful through our app in Contentful, we're on their marketplace now, and then ultimately build the variants in terms of new messaging, new layout, so on and so forth. And ultimately, you get access and leverage the content you already have in Contentful to basically spin up the variants using content you already have. So it becomes very easy for teams to run no-code tests in the tools that they already care about and already use all the time. And so you can actually deliver far more personalized experiences on the web without having to necessarily burn out or wait on your engineering teams to help. So this is going to be a really powerful one, and this is something we're really excited about. Like I said, coming very, very soon. The other thing I did want to call out here is really more about like how we help teams scale and get there together, right? And really, we have a variety of different ways that we help customers be more successful with Amplitude, all the way from things like professional services and self-learning modules like Amplitude Academy to make sure that you have access to the right resources and methodologies and approaches to make sure that you can actually make all of this work, as well as things like partnerships that we have in terms of getting people really building that experimentation culture, which we know is so important for all of this to work together. And ultimately, we are a partner to our customers to make sure that they can be successful. Because ultimately, things like adopting technology like Amplitude really is a journey, right? So you need to go beyond your initial use cases at launch all the way into optimization and then growth and adoption over time. And so these are some of the things that we provide customers on an ongoing basis to make sure that you are successful with Amplitude. And with that, I want to say thank you for joining us today and hope you learned a thing or two about Amplitude and how we can help you optimize both your web experience as well as your product experiences. Thank you so much.